Hello and welcome again to this edition of Phi TV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson. We are coming to you just a few blocks from Florida's capital in the Phi TV studios. We are here during the 2022 Florida legislative session, and we are joined by our friend Erin Collins, who's the Executive Director of the Florida Alliance to End Human Trafficking. Welcome to Phi TV.
Good to be with you.
Well, thank you for working on such an amazing issue. Phi TV, Florida Internet Television, we serve on the Attorney General's task force, but tell us about how the Alliance came to be.
Sure. During the 2019 Florida legislative session, members of both chambers sought to create a nimble, independent organization to focus on training, prevention, and awareness. We're administratively housed under the Office of the Attorney General, focused on special projects at the direction of the statewide council, working with some great partners this year to bring awareness in ways that haven't been done before.
Erin, so tell us a little bit about who are the board members, who are your chief stakeholders, if you will?
Sure. The organization is chaired by former Senator Ellen Bogdanoff. We have folks from the law enforcement community, healthcare, medical service providers, a survivor leader, philanthropists, and advocates. So with their unique background, we're looking to tackle human trafficking from a different and innovative view.
Yeah, I think one of the neatest things is when it's a very tough topic to tackle, but and a very serious topic, but I think it's interesting all the stakeholders that organizations like yours reach out to, and I'll go back to Uber. They were one of the leading groups back in the day, just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, right, to train their people of signs to look for. You guys have a heavy focus on training and awareness. Tell us what that process looks like now. Like, who are you training and who are your targets to make aware?
Well, I think I'd first off say that we don't know, a lot of people don't know that human trafficking still exists, which, there are stories in the headlines all the time, unfortunately. It's not a myth, regardless of where you live in our beautiful state. People are vulnerable for all sorts of reasons. So educating different types of communities and populations is so important. It's not just up to service providers or law enforcement to mobilize and take the burden on by themselves. We as community stewards, corporate partners, we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to bring wonderful companies to our state. Visit Florida, we market it, tourism all around the globe. People don't want to come to our state when they see those negative headlines. They want to come and make sure that they're having a good time. They come for a lot of different reasons, whether it's a sporting event, they come to the beaches, they come to our theme parks. So we're working with the business community this year with the Attorney General's leadership. We launched the 100% Club, and it really aims to look at our corporate partners who have such a footprint in our state to say, we challenge you. Let's train 100% of your employees to learn the signs and indicators of human trafficking so we can finally stop this heinous crime.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the corporate partners. I mean, just a few of the task force meetings, not the alliance meetings, but I assume there's a ton of overlap. The amount of corporate partners that are invested in this very real issue, not to be, time-centric, but just this week driving in, you hear these tragic stories. And traditionally, people only think about human trafficking in the sex work trafficking, but there's labor human trafficking. I mean, these are basically indentured slaves that are below the radar. Talk to us a little bit about the breadth of human trafficking. What does it look like across the spectrum?
Sure. No trafficking situation is the same. They're very unique depending upon the age of the victim at the time. It could look like a young couple or family or even a minor who, as you mentioned, is indebted or might have been, taken their passport might have been taken from them in hopes of a better opportunity in the United States. Another misconception is a lot of people that are engaged in labor trafficking come from other countries. Unfortunately, that's not true. There are a variety of risk factors in which someone can be more vulnerable, but the child who comes home to an empty house because both parents are working and hops on their cell phone to go on Snapchat or WhatsApp and all these other gaming devices is as vulnerable as someone who might be a part of the foster care system.
Yeah.
The labor trafficking situations happen in nail salons, massage parlors, restaurants. But the thing that awareness training is so important is you might have some information, you might have a funny feeling in your gut, but you don't have context. So for example, we go to the same restaurant every week.
Right.
It's Tuesdays, your favorite place, you see the same servers and the bus people, but you don't go behind where the kitchen is, where they're washing the dishes. So you might, unbeknownst to you, might see a trafficking situation, but you don't have that context.
Right.
So taking the training really rounds it out. So not only will you key in on the things that you learn, but then also the action, where to call, what to do, and where to report.
Yeah, I mean, human trafficking, and I have a background in fighting against domestic violence. It's funny, if you don't know the signs to look for, you would think it's just average everyday activity. When we think about the overall arching goals of your organization for this year, for example, what's kind of top of Erin Collins and your coalition's effort to tackle?
Yeah, with the partnership with the Attorney General, the 100% Club, our goal is to train 100,000 individuals through this program, which I think is completely doable with all the different types of businesses and associations in our state. And again, it's not the ending human trafficking just does not fall on law enforcement and service providers. Everyone, unlike other types of crimes or opportunities or situations, everyone has the opportunity to potentially see something and to report it, and that's so important for us.
Well, let's, in our last few seconds here, if somebody wants to get involved or they want to help, how do they do that?
Sure, they can go to FloridaAllianceNDHT.com, take our training. It's 1 hour. You'll learn the signs and indicators of human trafficking, commercial sexual exploitation, and also labor trafficking. One of our board members, law enforcement individual, comes in after every segment and tells you, and helps you key in on the big overall signs in those different situations. You can also go to youcanstopht.com, has lots of resources, posters available in multiple languages, so you can put up in your workplace and educate the people around you.
Well, Erin, thanks for sharing with us the latest in what's going on to combat human trafficking. Thanks for your service to that entire cause. And we would ask you promise to come back and keep us updated as to what's needed so we can get the word out.
Most definitely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Erin. I appreciate it. That's all the time we have for this episode of Phi TV. Make sure you hit us up on our social media feeds for more great interviews like this one. And for now, thanks for tuning in.